Good evening. I'd like to formally welcome everyone, including members of the gallery and press, to this council meeting. My name is Councillor Owen Sharkey. I'm the Mayor of the Golden Plains Shire Council. Tonight this council meeting is taking place within the council chambers here in Golden Plains Shire Civic Centre in Bannockburn and is open to the public. The meeting is being live streamed in accordance with Council's governance rules, and I welcome any viewers joining us online. As the meeting is open to the public to attend, if the live stream ceases at any time, the meeting will continue. Our opening declaration: we as the councillors of Golden Plains Shire declare that we will undertake on every occasion to carry out our duties in the best interest of the community, and that our conduct shall maintain the standards of the Code of Good Governance, so that we may faithfully represent and uphold the trust placed in this council by the people of Golden Plains Shire. Acknowledgement of country. Golden Plains Shire spans the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung and Eastern Maar people. We acknowledge them as the traditional owners and custodians. Council pays its respect to both Wadawurrung and Eastern Maar elders, past and present. Council extends that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are part of the Golden Plains Shire. Councillors, is there any requests for leave of absence? I do note I have an apology from Councillor Kirby. Confirmation of minutes. Councillors, we have a resolution before us to confirm the minutes and confidential minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held on the 28th of October 2025 and the ordinary meeting of Council held on the 11th of November. Can I have a mover? Moved. That one should have been the 25th of November, isn't it?
Should be the 25th of November.
And, yep, and the 25th of November. Can I have a mover to that motion, please? Moved Councillor Phelan and seconded Councillor Cook. Thank you very much. My apologies, I pulled out the wrong meeting sheet. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, are there any declarations of conflicts of interest? And we move on to consider the formal agenda. Item 7.1, meeting dates. Councillors, I refer you to page 6 of the agenda for this report. Are there any questions? No questions. I seek a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. This is a recommendation to adopt a schedule for next year's meetings as set out in the report, starting with the February meeting in Smythesdale. The February meeting will be when we'll hear budget submissions from the public, and the May meeting is when we'll plan to adopt the budget. Last year our budget submissions meeting was in Bannockburn and our budget adoption was in Smythesdale, but this year we'll reverse that and kind of share it around. That's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Phelan. Councillors, would anyone like to speak against the motion?
I'd like to make an amendment.
Yes.
That we consider moving the meeting times to 4 p.m.
So the amendment is moving the meeting times to 4 p.m.
Yep, they're all listed at 6 p.m. at the moment.
Move every single one of them to 4 p.m?
Yep.
Seek a seconder. No seconder.
Well, I'll second it for discussion. Want to be discussion? I don't care. I'll second it for that reason.
Yeah, that's one thing. You've seconded the.
Oh, sorry, that's better. Nobody's seconding it.
Can I clarify? Is Des seconding or not the amendment?
He's unable to second it, being the seconder.
So he can't second the amendment.
Okay, all right.
So I will Would anyone like to speak? The amendment is lapsed. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Speaking against the motion?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. The 6 p.m. start certainly makes it easier for those with outside full-time jobs.
Sorry, Councillor Cook, just a point of order. I've got the motion that's been moved by Councillor Robbins and it's been seconded by Councillor Phelan.
Sorry, I thought it was again as opposed to the...
So no, the motion on the amendment was lapsed, so the motion is to 6 p.m.
Right, so the 6 p.m. motion I fully support.
Thanks very much. Would anyone like to speak against the motion?
I'd like to. Second amendment, that a report be brought back to council before the I request officers to develop a report for council on any possible options for allowing council meetings to be held in other council facilities outside of Bannockburn and Smarsdale. This report would consider accessibility and technology solutions to support additional facilities to host council meetings.
Would anyone like to second the amendment? Seconding the amendment. Councillor Gamble to speak to the amendment.
Thank you. Basically, in recognition of the demography of our shire, recognition of improving technology and capability, I think it'd be good if we got outside of just having meetings in Bannockburn and Smarsdale.
Point of order, Councillor Gamble. Speaking to your amendment is seeking a report, not the moving of meetings. So you're speaking to your amendment, please.
Yeah, this is the reason for speaking
to the amendment as opposed not to the outcome of the report.
Okay. I think it would be having a report would give us information about what is possible. I note the City of Geelong conducts meetings at 5 locations, including Lara and Drysdale, and it would be interesting and good to have a report on what is possible within our shire. And I'd like to have a report on that so that we can, it's transparent to residents as well, what choices we have, potentially.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Cook, would you like to speak to?
Yes, look, I think a report on the ability to hold the meetings outside the 2 major centres would be helpful and may highlight the limitations in the technology that are out there in the wider shire. I think all councillors would be interested to know if it's possible to run meetings elsewhere, and we can consider options at that point when we get a report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Would anyone like to speak against the amendment? Councillor Hayden.
Yes, thank you. The motion being put forward gives the impression that this hasn't previously been investigated and looked into as an option. And my understanding, having been on council for 12 months, it's something that we have discussed several times. And I believe that in the years prior to myself coming on 12 months ago, that it has also been looked at. Putting aside the cost of connection alone, taking up the officer's time and energy to look further into the possibility of other locations, and then the potential of having to further put more money into alternative locations, when I think we already cover the north and the south of the shire quite well, and having alternative, I think looking at other councils, us having monthly alternatives where we have 6 at Bannockburn and 6 at Smarsdale is still a fairly good mix of 2 places. And I think that, yeah, it's something that we've looked at before, and I don't believe that we need another report to come back once again to, yeah, suggest why we can't do it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hayden. Would anyone like to speak for the amendment? To speak against the amendment to the motion?
I'd like to make just a comment, as someone who's been around a long time, too long obviously. We've tried this before and it didn't really work. And I think the system we have today allows people, seeing it's going through Zoom all over the shire, people have the opportunity to watch the meetings. If we stop, or we go to other places to hold meetings, we've got to establish this same connection with the public. We already have it, and as I've said on numerous occasions, if people just won't come to a council meeting to listen to council talk. They'll come when they've got an issue, and they'll come anywhere when they've got an issue. So you could hold the meetings at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, but if there's a real issue, they'll be here. And I think that we saw that over the tragedy that happened to Teesdale 6 or 7 months ago, and there's been we've had no more involvement from the community in this building or in Smythedale. And I think to put the officers into a situation they're going to go and do more research, to come back here with probably the recommendation that it's not viable or not worth doing, I think we might have just let it rest.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phelan. Anyone like to speak against the amendment? For the amendment? With that being done, I'll put the amendment to the motion to a vote. All those in favour of the amendment?
Excuse me, point of order. Do I get a chance to sum up?
Yes, so a summary on the amendment to the motion.
Yeah, as a mover. Thank you. Well, my basic point in addressing Councillor Phelan's concerns is that the technology is improving all the time, and especially a lot more people are using satellite technology and alternatives to what was available just a few years ago. So I think it is worth reconsidering. I don't think it'd be a great, it wouldn't take a lot of time or change of resources from the officers, because there's other councils even nearby doing and using that sort of thing. So I think it is worth investigating, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of residents that would be quite keen to sort of know that the council would consider trying to get out of our so-called, sometimes it's called a fortress here at Bannockburn, unfairly, but I think it's important for perception, even if it's just symbolic, and part of attempting to improve community satisfaction and confidence with our council in general, and a way to be more accountable to residents across the Shire.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. I will put the amendment to a vote. All those in favour of the amendment? Those against the amendment? Amendment is lost. I'll come back to the motion. And I've had a mover and a seconder, and I will seek someone to speak against the motion. No one speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 7.2, page 10 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. This item relates to council-owned land in the northern part of the Bannockburn Recreation Precinct. The land in question was declared surplus by council in March 2021. The land has been rezoned to neighbourhood residential zone, and there's a permit to subdivide it. Submissions from the public were heard by a standing advisory committee in September 2023 prior to the approval of the rezoning and subdivision. The sale of this land will help to address the critically low supply of available residential land in Bannockburn and will generate funds that will be quarantined to provide for future recreational needs. So this decision is to state our intention to sell the land, and it'll go to public consultation once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Phelan?
I'll resume.
Is there any councillor who'd like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against it.
I'd like to speak for it, please.
I'm seeking people to speak against the motion. Anyone like to speak against the motion? Councillor Gamble, I'm happy to take you to speak for it, but please appreciate, as the chair, I'm struggling to get someone to second the motion, and then someone's seconding it. So I'll allow you to speak on this matter, but forewarned.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't quick enough with the, my printer was playing up, so I'm working off the screen, swapping between my notes. And anyway, yeah, I welcome the community consultation. And thank you for letting me speak, because in recognition there is considerable community interest and concern about the proposed development. My feeling is that the current outcome is it seems to be more predicated on maximising yield. I'm talking about the actual planning permit with the lot shape, the lot sizes, and the 52 lots there.
Point of order. The permit's already been granted. This decision has nothing to do with the permit.
Well, I
Councillor Gamble, point of order. My ruling is in favour that you please again speak to the motion.
In seeking community consultation, I'd also note that there is councillors at the time didn't have input into the residential subdivision layout, and I, for one, was advocating for quite a different outcome to what is proposed. So after this community consultation phase, I think there is potential for a to reassess the specific housing layout as proposed here. So I also note that it is important to the council finances that we continue with this, because the money raised from the sale is significant, and it will be put virtually exclusively into a residential future fund, which I imagine will be used for funding things such as sports facilities in South Bannockburn.
Sorry, Councillor Gale, I was just confirming it. Recreation Future Fund. You said a residential future fund, but it's for future recreation. Yep.
Sorry, yep, my fault there.
No.
So yeah, I think I'm totally happy to support this, to go to this out for community consultation where we get some more feedback, but I would be keen myself to then reassess what the community concerns and issues are to see how we're positioned against them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? With no councillor speaking against the motion, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 7.3, page 15 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover. Move to Councillor Phelan, seconded to Councillor Cook. Councillor Phelan.
I think this is pretty straightforward, Mr Mayor. It's just going out to the public to get their assess what they think about it, going in the back of our council yard. But I think it's a very important proposal for that area, because the phone service around there is just, well, no phone service from home till I've got this sort of shelter tonight. So it's something that's important in the community, and it's going to be very helpful. I think we should fully support it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Cook?
No. Support Councillor Phelan's comments.
Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No one speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Item 7.4, page 18 of the agenda, councillors' interaction with developers policy. Councillors, are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover. Councillor Gamble moving the motion, seconding the motion, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Gamble.
Thank you. I commend and thank the governance and planning teams, for I imagine they were both involved in this, for the development of this new policy. It's important to understand the background with the probe into the City of Casey that had significant corruption and misconduct issues that were uncovered. City of Casey, there were tens of millions of dollars involved in large land subdivisions, such as we have in Golden Plains, and they did and still do at Casey. So this policy is in following up that City of Casey investigation. Recognising the scope for corruption must be taken seriously in our council and indeed in most local governments. The report that took quite some time of what went on at Casey led to recommendations from bodies such as Local Government Victoria for councils to develop policies and registrars of contacts and interactions between councillors and developers. I originally moved the NOM last term based on the Casey recommendations that we introduce a developer contact registrar. I'm pleased to see this has been developed by officers into this very important council policy. This policy will be a guide for councillors and developers too about the extent and limits of interactions between the two. And this councillor interaction with developer policy will provide increased pressure, guidelines and expectations for councillor behaviours and interactions, conduct with developers to be transparent, moderated, guided and registered, ultimately to the benefit of residents. So I very much endorse this new policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. I'll just add that this policy provides direction to councillors whether we're approached by a developer, a submitter or a lobbyist, and it's just about making sure we handle those interactions in a way that's transparent, responsible and doesn't compromise decision making. It's good risk management and hopefully it helps to assure residents that councillors are doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? No one speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 7.5, page 28 of the agenda. Any questions, councillors? Seek a mover if there's no questions. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. This is a fairly routine housekeeping item. The legislative changes have come into effect and this instrument ensures that our officers can continue to exercise their delegated powers lawfully and efficiently. The key policy and decision-making powers remain with councillors. I'm comfortable supporting the recommendation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, I was just these instrument of delegation changes and updates are fairly common. It's an item at council meetings, but I do think this one is noteworthy because it's in response to it's not just change of staff sort of thing, which we often get for these, but it is responding to significant changes to the planning scheme amendments. And I direct people to have a good look at the as really good summary from the governance people in our council to what those changes were and how we need to respond, which this is basically a response to those changes from state government level. And yeah, so I commend the people can see for themselves the implications on the agenda, particularly the background section in the agenda report. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Campbell. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 7.6, page 38 of the agenda, councillors. Are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover to the motion. Seek a mover. Councillor Robbins moving the motion and seconding the motion. Councillor Cook, thanks very much. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. This is just a bit of a clean-up of our policy register. We're revoking some policies that are either no longer enforceable, have been overtaken by state legislation, or are otherwise just no longer needed. That's the development contributions policy, the plastic wires policy, and the bus shelters policy. It's sensible to revoke them because it improves clarity and transparency. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cook.
Yeah, I think it shows that we're reviewing policies from the past, and the ones that are not needed can be disposed of in court. Councillor Robbins' points.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 7.7, CEO Employment and Remuneration Policy. Page 45 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion, Councillor sorry, I thought we were on there. Yeah, so just to give that an introduction, councillors. So the recommendation there is to adopt the policy. We are also appointing the following councillors to the CEO group. And so at our last briefing there, councillors, I asked councillors to send me through. I had 3 councillors get in touch with me: Councillor Cook, Councillor Robbins, and Councillor Hayden. So the motion would be to appoint the councillors, but then there's a 4th councillor then as well. The mayor is in that as well.
Appointed under the policy itself.
The mayor's under the policy. So yeah, so my apologies. So the mayor plus 3 councillors. So if you're happy to take the motion, Councillor Robbins as moving as Councillor Robbins, Councillor Cook and Councillor Hayden. Can I seek a seconder to the motion? Councillor Cook, thank you very much. My apologies. Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. So this is a review of our CEO employment remuneration policy. Probably the most significant change in the policy is the change to the composition of the CEO Employment and Remuneration Committee. Previously, the committee was made up of all councillors and an independent member. Going forward, the committee will be made up of the mayor, 3 other councillors and an independent member. A smaller representative committee is a model that's pretty well established across the local government sector. It supports more focused discussion and a more workable process. I also think it reflects our confidence in each other as a council. Effective delegation within council structures is a sign of a functioning, mature organisation. I'm happy to move that we adopt the policy and that Councillor Robbins, Councillor Cook and Councillor Hayden be appointed to the committee.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Cook.
As I've said in the past, I think publicly, but certainly privately, I think that a smaller, leaner committee will be certainly more efficient and workable because it's not organising all councillors to be there. I trust the other councillors. I hope they trust me, and if they don't, they're welcome to vote me off and appoint themselves on the committee. We will. But no, I think it's a good step forward and just formalises a more appropriate structure.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No one speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. 7.8 CEO Employment and Remuneration Committee recommendation. Page 63 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover to the recommendation. Oh, sorry, Councillor Robbins moving it. Councillor Phelan second that. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. This is a performance plan for the CEO that's been developed collaboratively between the CEO, Employment and Remuneration Committee and the CEO. I'm satisfied that the plan touches on all of the key areas, that it includes some good measurable targets and that it's suitably ambitious. I've been happy with the enthusiasm that the CEO has shown in his approach to the development of this plan, and I'll look forward to continuing to monitor his performance against the targets.
Thank you very much. Councillor Phelan.
I'll just second what Councillor Robbins said, and I think this is put in place to make sure that the CEO stays on his game, that we'll be watching with all times, and that this is a good document, and that gives him his ability to perform on his own, but also with part of the council. And I think that's very important, and I'm sure that he'll live up to his end of the deal for that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Phelan. Would any other councillor like to speak here against the motion? Maybe speaking against the motion, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 7.9, Delegates Report and Informal Meetings of Council. Page 71 of the agenda. I'll seek a mover. I assume there's no questions. Do I move the Delegates Report? Councillor Phelan moving the Delegates Report. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you. Seconding the motion. Councillor Hayden. Thank you. Councillor Phelan.
Well, I think it's the opportunity for councillors to report back to the council on the things that they've been doing. It's very important for them to go out and do all that lovely work in the community and come back and tell us all about it. I think that it's very important. Not that I agree with it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Hayden.
Can't add any more to that. Thank you.
Would any other councillor like to speak to Delegates Report? Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. I attended the Bannockburn Chamber of Commerce end-of-year function, which was a chance to socialise with some of the local small business owners. I attended the inaugural Mary Rogers Awards at the Parliament of Victoria. This awards program was launched earlier this year to celebrate women in local government and their contributions. It's named after Victoria's first woman councillor, Mary Rogers, who was elected to Richmond City Council in 1920. The Mayor and I attended the Municipal Association of Victoria's mandatory mayoral training. There was some valuable educational content about how to set the tone, inspire trust and influence change, as well as really interesting sessions on the new model governance rules that will be coming out soon and advocacy in the lead up to next year's state election. It was also a good opportunity to meet a lot of the other mayors and deputy mayors from across the state. I attended the primary school award ceremonies at Smythesdale, Ross Creek, Linton and Napoleons to present the student awards, which is always a great opportunity to connect with residents and celebrate the achievements of children in the Shire. Some of these are very small schools, and it's amazing when you see children that really thrive in that small school environment and are really well supported by the teaching staff. I went to the Teesdale Christmas Carols and Market. There was a huge turnout and a beautiful day for it as well. I was only able to stay for about an hour because I had to rush off to one of the primary schools, but had enough time to check out the stalls and make a few purchases, which was good. Thank you.
Thank you much, Councillor Robbins. Any other councillor like to speak to the Delegates Report?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I also had a busy month this week. The Tourism Greater Geelong and Bellarine Board had a Christmas function or meeting at the Barrabool Maze, which was very well attended by a variety of tourism interests from around the Bellarine, and they're a very positive group that do want to engage with Golden Plains generally. In addition, I went to the Golden Plains Twilight Market and opened the art exhibition there. again, the Twilight Market was very well attended, and I had to park about 4 blocks away and walk all the way there. So luckily I was rather early. But it's great to see the residents out and about, and they fully support those sort of events. It's very well organised by the council staff, who do a great job in having multiple musicians in various spots around the area, lots of food vans, and the art show itself was in a wonderfully air-conditioned space. So I thought it was a great evening. I've also then been to a number of primary schools, larger and smaller ones, such as Meredith, Inverleigh and St Mary MacKillop. It is exciting to see the young residents of the Shire and how happy they are to have achieved the end of their primary school years, and they're all looking forward. So they're positive about from where they're come, and they're positive about where they're going, which is something maybe we can all learn from ourselves. And I've got Haddon at the end of the week, which is a lovely trip north.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Councillor Gamble?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I attended a library board meeting. Given that the Mayor, Councillor Sharkey, was doing the mandatory mayoral training at the time, so there was a conflict there. So that was quite an interesting, very high-powered sort of meeting. So it's a lot of sort of pre-reading and information. I also, on the same day, I attended the Geelong Heritage Centre Advisory Committee meeting, which was more about okaying submissions for their collection. I also attended the two schools with the council award night. Councillor Student Award presentation for their primary school graduations for the Year 6 students leaving in recognition of their attendance at the school, and also families that are finishing their connection with the schools there too. So it's an important day for all. I gave them a hot tip that to take lots of pictures, because it just happened that my phone came up with pictures of my boys when they graduated from Teesdale Primary. So that could be a case of the technology reading my agenda and sending me information to get me in on that. Anyway, yes, also the Twilight Market at Bannockburn was really good. Unfortunately, it was a bit windy, so there were a few vendors pulled out because of that. But like Councillor Cook said, there was a great atmosphere and lots of kids and families having a great time, just carousing around. And the council also put on a youth section, an area that was dedicated for entertainments for the younger residents. And so it was a pretty... I should also mention I attended and helped a bit with the Teesdale Movie Night, which is put on by a couple of residents in particular for the benefit of the community, and it attracts like families, and it's done in cooperation with Cape Clear, and this is like the third one for the year, and that's a great event that's really enjoyed by over 30 young people at that event too. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. I too had a busy month this month, and I appreciate the shared collaborative approach by the council group in terms of covering a lot of gaps with a busy month. But quite noticeably, the Maryland Deputy Mayor induction, which was held in Melbourne, is a fantastic busy time of the year to do it. But obviously, under legislation, has to be done within a couple of months of being inducted or voted in as Mayor and Deputy. So fantastic opportunity, more so on the networking there amongst councillors and getting to sort of see a good few other councillors, meeting new ones and sort of seeing some old councillors there. So it's a great opportunity there, and also, yeah, a lot of education in that. So it's a very, very good induction process. Yesterday, myself and the CEO headed off to the first GBAC meeting of the new term of mayors. So it was a good opportunity to meet the new mayors that have been inducted in there, and then sort of set down the work ahead. So most groups like GBAC and G21 are really sort of setting the foundation now for the year ahead, and the next year is solely purposed on the election, which will be done and dusted by this time next year. So GBAC have got some great items there to work through. G21 also had their sort of first meeting of the new group. It's I think the group itself, we're a little bit confused of what we really are at the moment. So I think that's part of our transition over the next year to really put ourselves where we are headed and what we're going to become. G21 is definitely not the G21 we knew, purely and simply the budget that G21 now has is this big, and it was this big. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to achieve the same outcomes, but I don't think that that is the intent of it anymore. So we've got a new chair there. The chair is Jason Tram from Colac, and the deputy chair then is the Mayor Stretch Contel at Geelong. So it'll be interesting 12 months ahead, but again, the top of the agenda is the advocacy piece with the state election next year. The Twilight Market Teesdale, which was greatly summarised by a few there, just worth noting the massive crowd that's at Teesdale. I was shocked going in at the amount of cars, and on the way out it nearly doubled again. So it was just a massive event there in Teesdale, and a great way that they put that whole event together. Also, myself and the CEO both attended two sort of regional events, the Roving Runway and Barwon Sports Academy. Both events sort of feed into our Shire and offer some great work in what they do through the Sports Academy, picking up kids in the sort of G21 region to help and facilitate them taking on some of the sporting accolades that they want to aspire to be future Olympians into the future, and sort of from those sort of dare I say, quirky sports or not so common sports. And also the Roving Runway was great. We had the Barwon, we had Bannockburn's P12 school represented there. There was two groups that presented there, so some great aspiring 16, 17-year-olds headed into what is like a lion's den in terms of giving a sales pitch on what they want to do. A couple of kids there, drone business, and the other one was about sleeping. Sheets, wasn't it? Silk sheets, yeah. So it was fantastic. I reckon this new invention can make it easier to make beds, so every 16-year-old boy's dream. And that, also attended the Bannockburn Chamber of Commerce, which was a great to see all the businesses getting together there. So really busy month being December. So a great report by all. Thank you. Councillors, I'll take that as read and spoken about. All those in favour of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item 7.10, CEO report. Page 75 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions, or Mr. CEO, if you'd like to speak to?
Through Mr. Mayor, maybe just to highlight that the consultation on the budget has commenced. I think all councillors know that, but obviously for anyone at the meeting or watching the meeting. So we've had a couple of in-person sessions, but at the moment it is open for budget submissions through until the 2nd of February, and there is also currently an online survey. So generally, I think we want to see and receive as many submissions and as much input as possible. So yeah, officers are working to try and promote that as much as we can.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Councillors, I'll seek a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Gamble. Seconding the motion, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Gamble.
I'd just like to thank the CEO, Mr McSwain, for his work around the Shire and making connections and being accessible and open to residents. I've heard good reports from lots of different angles, and an example of this openness and transparency is this very chief executive report, where it's also, given that it's up for public or council discussion here, is able to field questions or clarifications about the issue, the agenda items he's raised. So, yeah, I'd just like to thank him and to wish him well and his family over Christmas. And I hope everything goes well into the future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. I'll just reinforce what the CEO said about the budget consultation. Budget submissions are open now, so if there are residents out there who are interested in influencing the budget, this is your best opportunity to do that. You can make written submissions, and you can also choose to speak to your submission at our council meeting in February, which, as I mentioned, will be in Smythesdale. We are hearing your submissions nice and early, which will give us plenty of time to properly inform ourselves about how your ideas could fit into the budget and how they might benefit the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No one's speaking against the motion. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Councillors, there are no notices of motions, no petitions, no urgent business and no confidential reports for decision. Therefore, there being no further business, items of business, I declare the meeting closed at 6:46.